This is 2 Minutes Together, a ministry of Central Lutheran Church, Eugene, Oregon. I'm Pastor Ben. This week in our gospel lesson, we have Jesus' famous Sermon on the Plain. This is in the Gospel of Luke, where Jesus, just like in the Gospel of Matthew, talks about those who are blessed. But in Luke, it's a little different than Matthew. One is Matthew, it's a really big, long sermon. We call it the Sermon on the Mount. In Luke, it's a much more compact conversation, and the content is different. And in fact, they're not the same sermon. This must be depicting two different events. But in Luke, what it says on this plain is one is, blessed are the poor. But then, just like in Matthew, blessed are the poor in spirit. But then in Luke, then it talks about who are blessed and to who receives woe. Well, if the poor are blessed, woe to the rich. If the lowly are blessed, woe to the mighty. This reversal is something we're going to see again and again in the Gospel of Luke. But I wonder, and I have to say, sometimes it's very troubling, especially for relatively middle-class people. I wonder if you've ever thought about it a little differently. I wonder if you've ever thought about it as, is there something wrong with this binary that Jesus is making? You are either the poor and seemingly the incredibly poor, or you are the incredibly wealthy. Well, one, in their society at that time, that was sort of the social situation, but maybe that was the problem. Maybe in addition to Jesus saying the neglect of the poor is a spiritual problem, not just a societal one. Jesus absolutely says that, but maybe he's also saying, is there something wrong with the way that this society has become so bifurcated? That we could say there, here is the rich, here is the poor, and that's their only identity. One of the things we really want to embrace is people are complicated. There's a lot going on with them. Those who are economically disadvantaged have a lot to offer. They are not just those who are the weak and lost. No, they are the powerful and in this world. And that's not to dismiss the real financial challenges people have, but to say, even with that, there's a lot to you. Just like those who are better off have their own challenges too. And just because they have material needs doesn't mean there's not real grief and real pain there as well. Maybe part of what Jesus is saying is, you've set up these camps, and those camps that are so different, who can't communicate, is part of the problem at all. Jesus names it, he calls it out, and challenges us. Can we think differently by God's grace? This has been 2 Minutes Together. I'm Pastor Ben.